Hello and welcome to Animated Wonders, an Explosion Network podcast where we celebrate animation in all of its forms. This is Animated Wonders. In this season, we'll be discussing all the films from Mamoru Hosoda. Hello, my name is Blight, and joining me to wrap up our series of Mamoru Hosoda episodes is Ashley Holby.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here to talk about this anime.
He is not an anime. He's a person who does anime films, just for clarification's sake.
These anime films.
He is anime. Of course, over this season, we have watched and discussed 7 films from The Girl Who Leapt Through Time to Scarlet. So this episode will be wrapping up our thoughts on Mamoru Hosoda's filmography to this point. Let's start with this. How has your perception of Mamoru Hosoda films changed across these, watching them all in a row?
I don't know that it's changed that much. I just, feel like this is someone who likes to tackle similar themes. Is like not trying to completely. He's willing to go back to stuff that he's discussed or thought of before. Like, there's 2 time travel movies. There's 2 fantastical world films. There's 2, songs with digital worlds and all this kind of stuff. So I feel like he is someone who is willing to retread places he's gone before. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people would be like, no, I don't want to kind of tackle the same material again. I want to do something completely fresh. But he's willing to, if the story is there, do something he's kind of done before.
I would, like, obviously we hadn't watched all of his films either. I think in watching them, that, yeah, similar to you, I guess you pick up the recurring sort of themes that he likes to play with, which we'll touch a bit more on in a moment. But overall, I wouldn't say my opinion has changed too much. Like, I think he is a, an interesting anime film director currently working, one whose work, whenever a new film from him comes out, sort of stands out, and he's, is going to be worth checking out. But I wouldn't say that I've grown to think more highly of his work or lesser than I did coming into this season. What do you think surprised you the most about either revisiting a film, or what film that you hadn't watched before that surprised you the most?
What surprised me the most? Maybe I think I was most surprised by the 2 films I hadn't watched before, Wolf Children and The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. And because in my mind, Hosoda's like, before this, Summer Wars, Belle, Boy and the Beast, big action heavy, digital worlds and that kind of stuff. But he could also tell these smaller, emotional stories.
Yeah.
It wasn't all, this is a guy who came from working on Digimon films and that kind of stuff, or shorts or whatever. So I think, it's all going to be sci-fi action kind of stuff. But yeah, he can tackle the emotional, core of things and tackle themes like that. So I think that was probably the surprising thing.
I think for me, and this may seem like a joke answer, but it's my honest answer, he likes whales.
This is a surprise.
I didn't know.
Surprised that he kept putting him in everything.
Yeah. I mean, when you watch them all in a row like this, the whale thing still stands out. And even by the time you get to Scarlet, I'm like, that's not a fucking whale, but that's still a big thing in the sky.
It's a whale with wings.
It's a whale with wings.
And tail, yeah.
Yeah. And then even when we looked it up, found out his answer to it, and we thought it was deeper, and just, nah, whales are cool, man.
Whales.
I like whales. Stands out. Did any films improve or drop or fail to live up to your hopes of them?
I think I liked Belle more on the second time watching it. Just, maybe going into it knowing what it was and then kind of meeting it where it is. I appreciate it more than the first time that I watched it. It was like, this is Beauty and the Beast ripoff, I think I appreciated Belle more on the second viewing.
I think I watched Wolf Children before, and I knew I liked it, and liked it enough to buy it. But I thought I was like, oh, this is a solid film, and I thought it was good. But I think maybe, especially because I'm older now than when I watched it the first time, I think my appreciation for that film and its themes grew the most on this rewatch. Would you consider Hosoda a consistent filmmaker or one that evolves?
I mean, it's hard to say because we're coming off what we would both say would possibly be his weakest film. So I do think he is evolving. Like I said, he is evolving the ideas and themes that he's tackled before in his films. Like, I feel like you can see the comparisons between Girl Who Leapt in Time and Mirai. Summer Wars, Belle. Boy and the Beast, Scarlet. Like, a lot of fantastical revenge, darkness of humans, that kind of stuff. Tackled in the same way again. He hasn't done a Wolf Children but I'm sure that's coming. So, I think the animation, he's always pushing himself animation wise as well. Like, maybe not theme wise, but yeah, like animation. I think each film continues to look better than the last. So, yeah, I think he's someone who is constantly evolving.
I think his animation's evolving. I think he's the last couple films, especially as he begins to play more with these, like, taking other stories like Beauty and the Beast and then Hamlet and sort of adapting them into his own world. I don't think that's proven to be as strong as when he was exploring strictly original narratives. So I feel like he's sort of gone a little bit backwards and not as consistent when it comes to narrative in his more recent years. But I'll tell you, like, yes, animation is evolving. He isn't just stuck to the more proper. Like, if you look at the Girl Leapt Through Time and your typical hand drawn animation style that you would expect out of Japan, and then by the time you get to Scarlet, obviously, way different. So, animation does evolve. Yeah. Having said that, what do you feel is the purest Hosoda movie? And by that, I mean, especially in terms of anime films, if people say Studio Ghibli, like, you have an idea. People usually go for My Neighbor Totoro or something like that.
Yeah.
So what is a Hosoda film?
I think it might be Belle, just because it is it has that combination of the various animation styles of like being in the real world and being in the digital world. It's got the whales. It's got music, which does end up playing a large role in all of his films. The fight sequences, and then you've got this emotional story element to it, tragic characters and that kind of stuff. So I think maybe that one is the best one to, like, if you were to pick one to like be like to use to as an example of Hosoda as a director, that would probably be the one.
I was going to go Summer Wars for similar.
Okay. Well, again, those are the two that kind of really contrast each other. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd go Summer Wars for the same sort of stuff. Obviously, plays around, explores a lot of ideas and themes that he does in a few films. And then has the fights, digital world, real world. Sort of plays up these different animation styles between the digital and the real world. So that would sort of be my one. Breaking down his themes that he plays across his films, what do you think stands out the most about these as to his thoughts, or what we've come to think of his interpretation of these ideas across his films? So when he does digital versus real world across his films, which he does multiple times, what do you think his fascination is with that?
I think there is, a lot of the time it feels like a little bit of a warning, about the dangers of, the technology that we don't have a full grasp on, and kind of what we're giving away and that kind of stuff. Like, obviously in Summer Wars, it's a heavy AI film, which weirdly relevant with our current times. About this rogue AI that's like destroying all of infrastructure. Whereas Belle is one about privacy and identity, weirdly, with this group of people who will just reveal your identity, get rid of your avatar or whatever. So, I think that's probably what he's trying to tackle with those kind of things, with the digital versus real world stuff. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's just a fear. Like, I think he has a fear for. I don't know if he fears technology, but especially because the way he explores and uses CGI and stuff like that.
Technology being misused.
Yeah, I think he fears technology being misused and a disconnect from
people,
us, society, to keep to us, like human to human, rather than obviously reliance on technology. And
well, again, like in both of the films that is prevalent in the end, it's solved by people in the real world connecting rather than
online,
people being online.
Yeah, because I don't feel like, because Miyazaki's someone who definitely sort of hates technology, I think, and what it's done to the world. Whereas I don't think Hosoda hates technology. I definitely feel like it's more of a stern warning or fear of what it can do, while accepting
tech is great, but we still need the human connection.
Yeah. Family bonds and unconditional families or love or found families, as they're explored in some films. What do you make on how he presents? Because obviously a few of his films he shows and explores different family types. Single mum with wolf children, no parents at all. The sibling story in Mirai, which is based on his own family and stuff like that. So yeah, how's his representation of that come across, paired with I think parenting as well?
Yeah, I think he shows that it isn't always sunshine and roses. Almost every family in his films like has some sort of difficulty or like conflict between them. From the most extreme in Scarlet, where the uncle is killing the father, to something like Mirai, where this little kid is like really upset about the little sister who's come along and like has changed the dynamic of the family and that kind of stuff. And then in Summer Wars, there's a whole bunch of different family dynamics happening in that. So I think, family is messy, but it's still family, I guess, is the ultimate message of a lot of his films, thematically.
Yeah, I think he has a thing of he does present like normal, quote unquote normal families, and then shows that it's not all hunky dory, just easy to love one another without work, and then also pairing up. But then he also has several films where there are like differences, be it the someone finding a family in a bear. Was he a wolf? No, wolf. No, what is he? The beast.
He's a bear.
He's a bear.
He's a beast.
He's a beast. Bear beast. Bear beast, or still accepting love from a wolf, and then have children. Like raising a family that way. And then so it has a thing of both accepting and sort of showing how normal families work, but then he also definitely shows the side.
I don't know that there's many normal families, quote unquote.
No, yeah, true, but yeah, definitely
outside of what Mirai, Summer Wars, I guess. Even that one's a little
messy,
messy with all the adopted people and that kind of stuff.
And then another big thing for his films, I think, is grief, hate, vengeance. How time can shape people and these emotions. How grief, changes over time. How hate grows over time. How vengeance can drive someone insane. How jealousy, even within a child, can change them. I don't think there's anything for me for these ones. It's just they're very he likes exploring, I think, what you'd call like core human emotions and feelings, and doing them in different ways, which I think is generally a very good way to go about writing and telling stories in a way that we can connect to them as viewers. So yeah, what do you think of how?
Again, I think it's like a warning thing, obviously in Scarlet, like revenge, corrupts everybody. Like it we see the cycle of violence in Boy and the Beast. You've got the the belief that all humans are evil or like have darkness in their hearts, and we see it corrupt the other guy's adopted son. And the way the parent is treating the kids in Belle and that kind of stuff. I think I think it's a warning to not give in to the worst aspects of ourselves and that kind of stuff.
What stands out to you when if you think of his visual style and direction?
I know, just the combination of 3D and 2D, I think. Just probably because it is so different to a lot of his contemporaries, like the use of CGI and a lot of his work. I think that's the thing that stands out. I mean, everything looks pretty, but that's I guess the best way I can describe it. Yeah,
I'd agree. Like from his earliest films to his most recent one, it's a willingness to explore different animation styles and play around with different visual styles in a way to shape and pair with his story. I think his direction changes over time as far as like how he shapes the virtual camera or what like the way it sort of goes. It goes from a bit more atypical from the Girl Let Through Time to a lot more visually interesting, but I don't think there's anything standout. It just sort of evolves as anyone does over time. As far as storytelling and the way he structures his stories, what stands out the most about those aspects from his films, do you think?
I mean, I feel like it's mostly tailored for whatever kind of film he's telling. Like, obviously, Scarlet is a little bit all over the place. But everything else is pretty straightforward from memory. I mean, maybe Mirai plays around a little bit with time, but most of that is pretty linear. So, I mean, I don't have many notes.
I think for storytelling, it's just he has at least an ability to play to a slower pace or a faster pace across his films. I think like he's done a few times more. So like Mirai or The Wolf Children, is like more slower. I think heavily character based pieces, and then of course he's done stuff that is a lot more faster paced in action. So I think it's just shown that he has the ability to sort of play around with the different types of storytelling, and he's adapted doing it, not just the one sort of story structure, I guess. Right, signature elements for Mamoru Hosoda. Pick the 2 elements of his films that stand out the most from the 7 of them to you. So animation and visual style, music and sound design, voice performances, world building, or emotional impact.
I've got animation, visual style. We constantly bringing up throughout this whole discussion, like and use of different animation styles to improve the story or like differentiate different things and that kind of stuff, and like push the medium and that kind of stuff. So that would be one, and then world building, because each of the worlds that he kind of creates in his films, whether it's the fictional worlds of Oz or You, or through to all the fantastical worlds of Scarlet or The Boy and the Beast, I think world building is a strong point.
Second one.
What?
Second one.
I said animation and world building.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
zoned out for a second.
That's fine.
It happens. Animation, visual style for me as well. Obviously, he's someone who, as we've been talking about, just loves to play out and explore different styles. And none of his films really look the same. And even if you're watching one movie, it also has different animation styles within it. And then I would go, I mean, not to pick the same things, but world building, I guess. His films across them, even the ones that we would rank lower on our list, I think we would all agree at least the world within the film is interesting. I mean, even in the world where we didn't say the story of Wolf Children was bad, and we thought that was one of his worst films, you would still say that the idea and the world of within those characters is at least interesting to be raising children, you know? So, yeah. All right, animated wonders ranking and awards. Let's do this first. Sorry, my screen froze for a second. Best, what do you think is his best film?
I've put down his best film is Mirai. It's really interesting, like very simple idea of this kid like dealing with time and that kind of stuff. It's the only one of his films to be nominated for Academy Award. Yeah, I think this one I feel like is the most well-rounded, of his films.
Okay,
what have you got?
Yeah, I know. I wrote down two things and thought I'd pick at the last moment.
Decide at the moment.
Which isn't a good way to go about it, because then I'm having second thoughts. Then I'm going Wolf Children. Fuck it, I'm going to say Wolf. Okay. I feel like I'm saying Wolf Children too many times. So, yeah, I'll go Wolf Children. I just think the story in that, I think it's a beautiful film. I think the story, the ideas explored, just very strong characters, the combination of all these different elements that play out across it with how the children grow up, and I don't know, like I really think that just sort of stands out as overall. Like it's harder to pick something that I don't like in that compared to most of his other films. What do you think is the best scene, sequence, or a single shot from any of his films?
It's a hard one because it's been a few weeks since we've watched any of his movies. But the one that came to mind first was the train station sequence in Mirai, where wanting to get home, and then he sees little Mirai about to go on the train to death, I think, from memory, and then rescuing her and screaming, all that kind of stuff. I think that is a sequence that came straight to mind, so I'll go with that.
Wolf Children. The mother trying to chase after her son who's gone off to look after the forest and its animals in the rain. That whole sequence just stands out. I think very emotional. Yeah, as I said, I'm going to say this goddamn movie too many times. What is the most emotional film?
Wolf Children. Yeah, just that one is the one that pulls on the heartstrings the most. Although trying to think what would come second.
Well, I'm saying Wolf Children for the scene I just said, so fuck it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Mirai would be second, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm locked in. What's his most important film?
I'm going to go The Girl Who Left Through Time, just because it is the one that proved that he could do original work, and thus gave him the runway to make the films that followed.
I'm also going The Girl Who Left Through Time, because that poster is sort of still used a lot. It's a signature part of his.
Well, I don't think we mentioned, but the silhouette of the girl is the logo for the studio.
Yeah, for the studio as well. Yeah, so I think that's just an iconic film. A lot of people know, and a lot of people, it's like because it's the logo, you even recognize it, even if you haven't watched it. And overall explores a lot of stuff that he then does better later and everything. But it sort of seems like a cop out answer to say, because it's the whole. If he didn't do that, we wouldn't be where we are now. But obviously, he's done stuff before that. But that is his first proper film. Yeah, it just seems like the most important.
Original, yeah,
for his career. All right, you got a ranking list for me?
Yes, I do. Number 7. Is this 7, right?
Yeah, it's 7.
I haven't missed one. Yes, no. Great. Number 7 is Scarlet. Obviously, we said it's I'm not going to give an explanation. Number 6, The Boy and the Beast. Number 5, Wolf Children. Number 4, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. Number 3, Belle. Number 2, Mirai. Number 1, Summer Wars.
Interesting. Our list is on par for a lot of it, I think. So I got 7, Scarlet. There's I don't even want to say there's a level of recency bias for that. I just think even if you reverse this and it's his first film, I'll still feel the same way. Belle, which I think is very pretty and like I enjoyed, but again, it's just that exploring of another story and trying to adapt it, and it comes across like I think Belle's a lot better than Scarlet, but it still just sort of sits there. And to be honest, I think Scarlet's the only one I'd generally say is bad, I guess. When they got The Boy and the Beast, watch was solid, enjoyed.
Yep. Good
themes about family and stuff, enjoyed. Summer Wars, because that was my first one of his films, so I sort of have a soft spot for that as well, but I enjoy it. It's AI versus the world, whatever.
Yeah.
Girl Who Leapt Through Time, which I'd never watched until this, so had a great time with that one, and then super important, Then I'm going to go Mirai, which I just think was very sentimental, come across very sentimental for him. Very personal project, I think, as well as the way it comes across, and does a great job of that. And then The Wolf Children, which as I said, I'm just going to mention a million times, so yeah. All right, Legacy and Impact. So I'm just going to sort of rank this because you probably answer a few my couple dot points in one sort of go. But what do you think Mamoru Hosoda's current legacy is in animation? How do you think he compares to other high-profile anime directors? Because he is one. And then Studio Chizu. Am I saying it right? Chizu?
I think so.
Chizu. How do you think that, again, similar to him, like how he ranks, like how do you think that studio is generally viewed?
I think, he is like one of the top, he's one of the most well-renowned current directors of this next generation coming through, like obviously. So he's important. I feel like there's an element of it's hard to compare between so many because we don't necessarily watch every single Japanese movie that comes, Japanese anime film that comes out, but already he's established himself as somebody you want to go see his films. I would probably still have trying to find the director's name. Makoto Shinkai. I would say he's of the next generation of animation Japanese anime directors. He's probably just above him. So, but then there's probably a ton of directors that we haven't really seen much of their filmography just because it didn't necessarily hit here in the West. So,
yeah, I think he's like he's up there. He's the thing is, I don't think he's top tier. I think when people think of current day, like if you was to go ask someone who doesn't recognize anyone's names but might know studio names, like they know Studio Ghibli, they watch the anime films, or especially the anime films that come to Western audiences and do well. Western audiences, everyone's just going to be going on about your name and stuff like that. Like they're going to know that more than I think any of his films. But I still think at the end of the day, that Hosoda's films, or at least a few of them, would come across in that like more recent caliber of stuff. But I don't think people would know Studio Chizu as a name or know his name. And it sounds mean to say, but I just think like where he's ranking, I still think there's obviously a lot of time for him to grow and continue to put out films, and he keeps exploring stuff, which is interesting. But yeah, he's probably third, I guess, in the list of stuff. Miyazaki's still working until he decides to retire for the 16th time. So, what would you rank Mamoru Hosoda's filmography from a D- to a S+?
I'm gonna say A-. I think he is generally very good, but I don't know that any of his films I like truly love. Like I'm like, none of his films I would be like, I'll put it in my top 10 all time.
Yeah.
So And maybe again we're giving a bit of a ding because of Scarlett and recency bias, but yeah, that's the grade I'm going to go with.
I'm going to go just a solid B.
Okay.
I think Wolf Children Love, obviously, and I think the top 3 from my list are all standouts, but then the rest down, I'd be like, these are good, but they're not caliber. And I think the last 2 films are, especially Scarlett's obviously the one we keep shit on this episode, but even Belle, I'm like, So I think it's a little bit mixed bag, but the top 3 are really, really good and must watches if you like animation. So yeah, we're just gonna go solid B award, which is it's fine. But I think that's a passable mark, right? And they have.
I mean, anything over a C is a passable mark.
There you go. So we're in.
I mean, the fact that he keeps getting make movies,
Yeah. Well, they do well at the box office end of the day. So
yeah,
they do really well in Japan.
They
do well in Western audiences as well. So
I think it'll be interesting. Obviously, you brought up the studio cheesy.
See, that's the problem I have. You go to say it, you read it on paper, and you're like, "Yeah, easy," and you say it, and you're like, "Does that sound right?"
I don't know. Can you ever? It's weird that the studio, this particular studio, and I'm sure a lot of Japanese studios, are so closely tied with the director.
Yeah,
we think Studio Ghibli. When we went through the Studio Ghibli's Anime Wonders, you check out that podcast. All the different directors that at least attempted to also match wits with.
Well, I mean, technically, there's only there's really 2 directors. 2
directors, but they were trying to get people to continue.
And you have a third come in, but we're not really counting his.
It's not like Western animation studios where you feel like there's constantly a new crop of directors coming through.
Yeah.
Just because they take so long to make, it's like you're voting how many years of your life to a film. So, and also they want to pump out movies more quickly.
No, correct. Yeah, still looking forward to what he does in the future, and I think he's young enough and he's had such interesting idea. He's not super young, but he's young enough that he's not.
He's 58. He's not.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's young enough that
he's not Miyazaki's age.
No, he's not Miyazaki. So, lots of interesting stuff to come, I would assume, and yeah, looking forward to watching more of his films in the future. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Animated Wonders. Let us know what you thought of the film on social media at explosionnetwork.com/follow. If you enjoyed the show, you can find more podcasts, reviews, and pop culture coverage over at explosionnetwork.com. And if you'd like to support the podcast and Explosion Network, head on over to explosionnetwork.com/support. Until the next episode, remember that animation is cinema.